Congratulations, you made your first $1 million. Now, what are we gonna do with it? I'm Reggie Gooden. I'm a business manager for 7, 8, 9-figure, high-earning celebrities. You know their music, you know their movies, and you know their businesses. There are 5 things you need to do when you get that first million. The very first thing you need to do is realize that $1 million is not $1 million. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna have to pay your team. All of those people that work those long hours to put you in a position to win, you're gonna have to pay them. So technically, you made $1 million, but after you pay your staff, it's gonna be less than $1 million. An artist manager, for example, can get between 10 and 20% of the gross amount, that million, because that can be $100,000 or $200,000. You're also gonna have a talent agent. If you're on the film TV side, they're also typically around 10%. Then you have an attorney that worked long hours putting your contract together and made sure you got all the money that you were supposed to get. He's usually about 5%. Also a business manager like myself, where it can either be 5% or you may have a monthly fee that's associated with it. So when you add that up, that's 10% for your artist managers, 10% for your agent, 5% for your attorney, and 5% for your business manager. That's 30%. So that comes off of the $1 million. So what are you left with? $700,000, okay? So the IRS, Uncle Sam, and all the state governments, they're gonna want a piece of that $700,000. What are we gonna do with that? In the state of California, for example, 13% is the state tax. For the federal government at $700,000, 37% is the tax. That's 50%. So of the $700,000, cut it in half, and now you have $350,000 to play with. So what you're gonna do with that $700,000 remaining, we know that half of that's gonna have to go away to taxes. So you're gonna put that money away, let it earn money until it's time to pay state and the federal government. So of the $700,000, now you have $350,000 that you need to put away. That's gonna earn money for you. I like to recommend putting in things like a high yield savings account or even a treasuries account, because those are short-term investments that you can put money into. They're gonna earn money until it's time to pay it to the federal government, and you're gonna have some change left over for yourself. Okay, so now if you put money away for taxes, you have about $350,000 left of that money. You're gonna wanna pay yourself. I always say you worked hard for the money. I know that you want to splurge, you want to ball out, but pay yourself 10% of that money. That can be your splurge money, because you're going to still need money to live, right? So of the 10%, we're talking about $35,000. Not bad. You can go and you can do anything you want for yourself, but do not exceed that 10%. So after you paid your team, you put money away for taxes, and you taking a little bit for yourself to splurge, you're gonna have about $315,000 left. What are we gonna do with that? Well, you're gonna have to live until you get your next big bag, right? So we're gonna budget that money out. We don't know when the next big check's coming, so we wanna make sure we create a budget that's realistic, that you can stick to, and that you can use that money to live. You may have some outstanding debts. You know, it's a long road to get the million. You were putting all your blood, sweat, and tears into your project. You were able to get the project, so now that you have the money, we want to make sure that it carries you till you get the next big bag. When we sit down and we talk about budgets, my client, we like to do it for a year, right? Because sometimes that comes in the form of an advance. Sometimes that might be a brand deal that expires in 365 days. So that's a good guideline to say, okay, how can I live off of this $315,000 remaining in the next 12 months? It might sound like a lot of money, but depending on where you live, especially in the state of California, it's not that much. So we want to make sure that we do something realistic, that feels comfortable, so that you and your family, loved ones can be taken care of. Now that we have some advice, let's talk about a few mistakes. The 3 biggest mistakes that I see when it comes to this specific topic is 1, not realizing $1 million is $1 million. When you get it in your hands, I know you've been working so hard and you want to go and you want to take care of yourself and take care of your family. So you might spend all your money, and then I have to come knocking on your door when it's tax time to say it's time to pay your tax bill. I don't want you or myself to feel sad. So let's realize that $1 million is not $1 million. The second thing that really happens to a lot of people, and I don't want it to happen to you, is when we sit down and we create a budget, people do not create realistic budgets. I want us to sit down and figure out how much it costs for you to live per month. At that $315, that's $26,000 per month. That can either be a lot or a little. It depends on what's going on with you. But we want to make sure that it's a realistic expectation and that you're not going to spend beyond your budget. And lastly, one thing that you always want to do You want to make sure that the people in your orbit are fairly compensated. A lot of times the discretion is on the client. You're going to receive all of the gross proceeds, and it's going to be on you and your trusted advisor to pay all the members of the team. Make sure they get paid because they did a lot of hard work and they deserve it. So congrats, you made your first million. Hopefully it's not your last million, but let's not ball out. Remember, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And I know you got the urge to splurge, but let's take it one step at a time. Keep doing what you're doing. That made your first million. Take it step by step, and it's gonna add up in no time.